Tom?
On my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, we're live.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to February's edition of Curo Facebook Live session. My name is Julie Evans. I'm Curo's Chief Operating Officer. What does that mean? Well, essentially, I'm responsible for practically all of the frontline services that you receive in your home. And I'd like to welcome you to my colleague Tom, who this is his first Facebook. So welcome, Tom, and thank you.
Hello, I'm Tom Battersby. I'm Director of Property Safety and Compliance, and that means that I'm responsible for a lot of the safety checks and activities that we do, so things like fire safety or electrical safety, trying to make sure that all of Curo's homes, all of your homes are safe to be in. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. I can see we've got about a dozen people with us at the moment. I can't see that we've had any questions yet. For those of you that might have joined these before, apologies, because I realise we haven't had one for quite a while for various reasons, but we do intend to start them up again now and hold them bi-monthly. So you can ask us anything you want, and we will try to answer as many of your questions as possible. We've also got some really good colleagues who are behind the scenes, who will, if we can't answer the questions straight away, then they will be looking to see if they can provide the answers whilst this session is going. And if we can't answer straight away, then we'll come back to you as soon as we've got the answers. So whilst we're waiting for our first question, shall we give you some information as to what's happening in Curo world? Start off with, for those of you that don't know, our Chief Exec Officer, Victor Kuna. He's been with us and leading us since, I think it was April 2011. He is going on to pastures new. He is going back to London where his family live, and he's got himself a new role with Notting Hill Genesis, and we wish him all the very best. We will miss him greatly, and Notting Hill Genesis are very lucky to have him, and I am sure he will do as great a job there as he's done for us in the last 14 years. We're very slow tonight, Tom. We haven't had any questions yet. So, shall we tell you a bit about the community catch-ups that our colleagues in the resident engagement team carry out? So this is where we have several colleagues. I think some of your team, Tom, have gone to previous ones. And we say where we're going to be, in which community, and we all rock up. And it's your opportunity, basically, to have a in-person Facebook Live session with Curo colleagues in your community. It gives us the opportunity to have a look round, talk to you about issues that are impacting upon you or where you could do with our help. We've got a full list of the dates and the locations on our website. And if your community isn't on there and you would like us to hold one in your area, then you can just contact us at voicebox@curo-group.co.uk, and we will be delighted to come along and see you. The next community catch-up is at St Margaret's Close Community Room, which is one of our sheltered schemes, and that's in Keynsham. And that is happening next Tuesday morning, which is the 24th, I think. And then we'll be doing a door-to-door exercise around the Mead estate on the following Thursday, which is the 26th. So are any of your team going to be there, Tom?
Not at that one. We were at the most recent one at Rosewell Court, which was good. There are a few things that came up there because obviously that's one of our higher rise buildings, so it's got some special rules around fire safety that apply there that don't apply to most of our property. There was also some good conversations with colleagues in the estates team, things like external lighting, stuff like that came up. So yeah, it's always interesting to go along, always useful.
Great. So we've had our first question of the night from Sharon. Hi, Sharon. Thank you for joining us. And you've asked, are Curo supposed to notify you if they're going to visit, or can they just turn up? Well, we can just turn up, but we have to give you notification if we need to come into your property. I think if you have a look at your tenancy agreement, then we have to give you at least 24 hours, I think it's 24 or 48 hours notice to request that we gain access to your property, whether that's to carry out an inspection of some type, or we need to do something else. That's slightly different than if we need to do a repair, because then we will contact you and agree with you a convenient date to carry out that repair. If you want to give, or you've given some more information, you had a Curo member just turn up and was a bit skeptical and did check ID first. So thank you for checking ID. Absolutely, if it is a Curo colleague, they should offer that to you. They should give you their name and they should explain the reason for their visit. If they are asking to come in and they haven't given you notice, then you do have the right to say no, and arrange a mutually convenient time. So I hope that answers your question. We've had a message from Daniel saying hello. Hi, Daniel. I'm not sure if you've got a question for us. And a stalwart of these sessions, Carl. Hi, Carl. Hope you're doing well.
I'm not seeing the questions update. I've just got a fixed list. So if you don't mind,
That's fine. I will
thank
carry
you.
on. And if you want to give the updates on some of the briefing notes, that will be
Absolutely.
helpful.
Okay, so yeah, the next thing we were going to point out to people was to do with our resident engagement group. So we run, well, really as many of these as we can, as well as specific scrutiny groups to talk about particular topics. So I ran one recently with colleagues from resident engagement about whether or not people feel safe in their home and what we might be able to do to help more people feel safe in their home, also building, also area that you live. We've got a thing called VoiceBox, which is like an online platform and also has an email address, which is voicebox@curo-group.co.uk, which is a way of getting in touch with the team, and they can connect you to things that you're interested in, other people in your area who are interested in. We've got a range of specific interest groups as well. So we've got a disability action group, a young residents group, and also an LGBTQ plus group. So if anyone is interested to do get involved, it is helpful, and we do listen. We are making some changes as a result of the scrutiny groups that we did recently around safety, to do with the way that people could get in and out of some of the blocks of flats, because that was brought up to us as a problem by a number of people at different sessions. So yeah, please do get involved and let us know what you think.
Thanks, Tom. And I think, VoiceBox in particular, that's an opportunity for you to give feedback on some of our ideas on shaping our policies. And that's been in place now for a couple of years. And what we're really pleased about is, and I should know the number, but I'm sure it's about 3,000 tenants who are
A lot of people,
members of VoiceBox, which is brilliant. So if you haven't joined, but you are interested, then we would love to have you as a VoiceBox member. Carl's asked a question, which is how could you ask how much this year's rent is going up by? So, presuming that you live in a sheltered, a tenanted property, Carl, then the rent will go up by the formula that the government set for us, and that formula is whatever the CPI percentage is at the end of September, plus 1% on top of that. So just forgive me, I can't quite remember what the eventual number is,
I
but
think
it's
it's
not
4.8. I think it's
4.8, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. So CPI was 3.8% as at the end of September last year, and the government allow us to put 1% on top of that. So if you're a tenant, a social or living in a social or affordable property, then your rent will go up by 4.8% from the beginning of April. I hope that answers your question, Carl. Another question from Andy. Good evening, Andy. Um, I'm just going to read, this is quite a long one, so I'm just going to read the salient points out. A family member was recently disappointed when a three-bedroom property on the same street as where they live became available. They reached out to Curo and home searchers. They occupied a four-bedroom and was prepared to downsize, but nobody at Curo or home search was interested in working with them, despite being led to believe that there was desperate need for four-bedroom properties. Could you please clarify if QO are interested in working with the tenants if they have a four-bedroom property? So yes, in short, Andy, we would be. What may have happened with that one is that it may already have been bid on, and that it had already been shortlisted. So apologies, I don't know the specifics to that. But yes, you are correct. We and Baines as a whole are desperate for four-bedroom houses. So if you want to, or if your family member wants to contact us directly and give us their details, then we can arrange for one of our colleagues to come around and have a chat and see how we get the ball rolling on that. Um, Next one is for you, I think, Tom, from Caroline. Evening, Caroline. Caroline would like to know how safe she can be kept in her flat.
Okay, so there's different answers to that question depending on what you're thinking about in particular. But overall, we have a range of different checks that we undertake in buildings. So if you have a gas supply, you would have an annual gas check, and that's a requirement of anybody who's renting a property. So that's a legal requirement. We have to do that. We'd also at the same time check carbon monoxide alarm is working, because that's a odorless gas that is poisonous if you breathe in too much of it, and is created by burning. So if you have a gas boiler, or if you have a wood burning stove, or an oil burner, then they produce a certain amount of carbon monoxide that gets vented out normally. So the alarm's just there as a backup, just in case anything goes wrong. So that's an important thing to have particularly if you have mains gas. Every 5 years, we do an electrical check. That's called an EICR, which stands for an electrical inspection condition report. And as you would think from what it's called, that's to check that the electrical installation in your property is safe. If the consumer unit, the distribution board with the fuses on, is more than a certain age, we would replace that as part of that to make sure that you have something called RCD protection, which has been standard for a number of years, but we still find a few very old ones that haven't had it. That's so that if the current is interrupted, it will cut off the power. So that should minimize the duration of time that anyone could get an electric shock. So that's really important. And we check the earthing and things like that to make sure that's all safe. The guys will also test smoke alarms when they're there. And you should also test your smoke alarms. Sometimes people say weekly, but if you could do it monthly, that would be really great. Smoke alarms are one of the biggest things to help protect you in the event of a fire. Fires are quite unusual these days, but they can happen. If you've got at least one working smoke detector, you're 8 times safer than if you haven't got one. So that's a really important thing. The ones that we provide generally are linked together. So if one went off in, say, the kitchen, it would set one off in the hallway. So it just makes that extra noise to make sure that it's loud. If you have problems hearing, or if you're on medication or anything like that, that means you sleep very, very deeply. I mean, these things are pretty loud when they go off, but if you think you wouldn't hear them, hard of hearing, whatever, we can provide a particular kit which includes a vibrating pad that goes in your pillow. So if you're asleep, and it'll still wake you up. And there's also a strobe light, so you can see it if you're awake and about. So that's quite important. In your flat, depending on the layout of your building, it does depend a little bit, but it's likely that your front door is a fire door. So that's important. The most important thing with that is to make sure that the self-closer works. So if you open the door and let it go, does it close back into the frame? That's the single most important thing about it. There are other things like what the size of the gaps and things like that. again, the guys would do in our taller buildings. So this is where it depends where you live. They would do a check of that every year. We also check the communal doors in the building on a regular basis, and someone from one of my teams would be coming round either monthly or weekly, depending on what sort of building you live in, to do checks, things like the communal areas, to make sure that um, they're clear, the escape routes are clear, that there's nothing that's going to sort of burn or block the thing. We have recently had to remove a couple of mobility scooters where we couldn't get people to store them somewhere else because they've got batteries on them that actually can be quite dangerous and burn and create poisonous gas and things like that. So we work quite hard to try and keep that clear. So it's also from your flat to the outside world is important. It's worth thinking about what would you do in the event of a fire. So do you have a plan? Can you open your front door from the inside without a key easily with one hand? Possibly two hands if you've got a chain on it, but is that straightforward? Have you got your phone or a torch upstairs? So if the lights went off and if you've got stairs in your flat, if you had to get down or if you just had to get out, would you be able to do that safely? If you live with other people in your property, if you've got children, what do they need? Would you know how to get them? Children tend not to hear smoke alarms the same way as adults, so you can't assume that children will wake up on their own. You probably have to go and wake them up, even though it's like unbelievably loud. If you're a grown up, apparently they've done lots of tests and kids don't always wake up. So
I think,
that's
Carl, what we can do, isn't it,
sorry.
is sorry, if you're worried, Caroline, or concerned, or just like a bit more information, we can arrange for one of Tom's colleagues to go
Yes.
around and do a safety audit for you if you'd
Sorry,
like
yeah.
to.
As you can tell, I could just talk about this all day. So.
He's very passionate about safety, which is great because that's what I need in a director of safety. Right, a couple of questions, Tom, that have come in. Carl, it should say in your tenants in your rent increase letter about if you're on universal credit, etc., what to do. But if you're still not sure, then please ring us and ask to speak to one of our customer accounts colleagues, and they'll be able to help you. Andy, just going back to your question about downsizing, a family member downsizing from a 4-bedroom property, the reason would be if the family a member has only got a 2-bedroom need but is requesting a 3-bed, then we can't consider it, sorry, because 3 and 4-bed properties are at such a premium that we have to make sure that the people that go into them have the right size requirement. So I appreciate, obviously, they are giving up a 4-bed, but if they've only got a 2-bed need, then we would only consider downsizing them into a 2-bed property. So I hope that helps. Sharon, just to go back to our colleague turning up on your doorstep, if they wanted to inspect something, then they absolutely should have given you that 48 hours notice. So apologies and thank you for being flexible and letting them in. Tasmin, hi Tasmin, you telling us that you wanted a bid on a property but got told you won't be successful due to not allowed to put adaptations in new builds for 2 years. I'm not quite sure that's correct. 2 years, potentially 12 months, yes. But and I don't know who told you that you couldn't succeed. So apologies, I can't really answer that because I haven't got the details. Laura, hi Laura, you're saying that regarding the rent increase, you're saying I didn't actually say shared ownership, Laura. I said if you were a tenant, then your rent would be going up by CPI plus 1%. So I'm assuming from your comments that you are a shared owner, which would come under a different a different scenario. So sorry if I confused you. Carl was asking from a tenant perspective, which is not the same as a shared owner. Daniel, you're asking if you should contact Curo first in an emergency such as a burst pipe or if your electric is completely gone. I would say yes, Tom, but not if it's a gas leak.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
was just going to
different
say,
thing,
yeah,
isn't it?
if it's gas leak, you call Transco. I'm now going to struggle to remember the number, but I can check it just quickly.
Okay, whilst you're doing that, Carl is asking you a question, Tom, about when is someone coming out to repair their communal area. And Tom isn't actually responsible for that, Carl. But again, hopefully, one of my colleagues in the background will be looking up to see if we have an appointment date for the repair to your communal area. Tom, Caroline is saying that she is deaf and would need some help with safety. So
Oh,
if
okay.
we can take Caroline's, if one of our colleagues can take Caroline's details and pass them on to Tom
Yeah,
tomorrow, then we can arrange for a safety audit visit for you,
yeah.
Caroline. So thank you for contacting us. Um, Sophie's coming back. Again, a long message, Sophie. So I'll just say the pertinent points. The new block flats in Mulberry are currently just falling apart with constant leak coming from the roof. It's been like it for over a year. Old. Recently just wipe and clean the ceiling. Okay, I haven't got the details of that, Sophie, but we will get that. And if I can't answer that tonight, then I will certainly get the information tomorrow. And either myself or one of my colleagues will contact you, if that's okay. Elizabeth, hi Elizabeth. You say you had a house inspection last year. I'm assuming it was our home condition survey visit and was told you need a new front door. When is the works going to be carried out? Again, I will wait to see if my colleagues have got the answer to that, Elizabeth. If not, again, if you can DM us your details, contact details, then I can get one of my colleagues to come back to you in the next day with that information. Uh, Tasmin, regarding the bidding, you came in at number 2 for the property. They replied, "Yeah, I'm sorry, Tasmin, about that. I'm not sure you were given the right information, so I will look into that, particularly because you needed disability adaptations. I will look into that personally myself tomorrow, and we'll come back to you on that." Uh, Andy, you're saying that your family member had a 3-bedroom need. Um, And could I speak to you directly? I can, Andy, but I can only do that with the written permission from your family member. So if you can get that sent to me, or if they want to ring me themselves, I'm happy to talk to them. We've got some others, but should we have another just from our briefing? We've had some reports of people being, particularly in the Twerton area, being posted leaflets in their doors regarding offers to come and do inspections of your properties. It's probably a ambulance chasing solicitor, and they will probably promise you the earth in terms of the money that you would be able to get. If you do get one and you are suffering from damp, in particular, because that's what they normally contact about. I'm not saying that you obviously have the right to contact them if that's what you want to do, but it will be much quicker if you let us know. We have a fantastic surveyor called Steve, who is our leads on these type of cases, and we will be able to get out to you quickly. We will be able to get a resolution to the issue. If we feel that we've let you down, then potentially there might be a question of compensation. But I can assure you that whatever these firms offer you, you will not get what they're promising you. And I think first and foremost, if you have got a repair issue, then you would want to get that resolved as quickly as possible. And it will be much quicker if you contact us than go through that route. However, as I said, it's completely up to you. And if you want to do that, but just be careful, because we're also aware that there are been a number of scammers in the areas, and you just need to be careful that they are real bona fide companies. Anything you want to highlight from our briefing, Tom, before we go back to the questions?
I thought the North Somerset Wellbeing House was worth mentioning. There are a series of free workshops for people who live in North Somerset. So that's a scheme that we run on behalf of North Somerset Council, where people can go and take time out when they're struggling, but they also do day-to-day stuff. So anyone living in the area can sign up, and it runs until the end of March. So North Somerset Wellbeing page on our website will have more information.
Excellent, thank you. Question from Helen. Are sheltered homes going to be given a new name? At one time, sheltered bungalows had an on-site warden, then it was just sheltered housing officers and live well officers. Who is going to be our point of contact? Would just say that I would have been lost with the help, without the support and help when you first became a Curo tenant. Hi, Helen, and thank you for raising this. For those of you who don't know or don't live in sheltered housing, we were able to provide a support service directly to our customers who needed it, that live in our sheltered accommodation, through money that we received from Baines Council. And Baines, like lots of other councils in the country, has had to make difficult funding decisions in terms of the growing challenges that they've got for service demand. We will no longer, after the 1st of April, be paid by Baines to deliver that service. However, we have won an alternative contract from Baines to deliver what's called an independent living service. And that is open to anybody that lives in Bath and North East Somerset. And there are details on both the Baines website and also ours, that if you need support, then it tells you how you can apply to receive a service from the independent living service. To go back to your question, Helen, no, sheltered housing is not going to be given a new name, namely because you have to be over a certain age to qualify to live in sheltered housing. You also have to have an alarm service in case of emergencies. And those two things mean that technically it still is under the umbrella of sheltered housing. At the moment, of the 1,800 sheltered properties that we've got, there's only about 175 customers that actually access the Live Well service. I've been here for 20 years now, and what we've seen over that time is that the people that are coming into sheltered, whilst they're over the age that they need to be, I think that's currently 55, more and more people are actually very healthy. Lots of people are working. I'm over 55, so I would be working if I
I'm
lived in
nearly
sheltered.
55.
And so the need for actual support has become less and less and less. And I think that was one of the reasons taken into account by Baines when they were making that decision, which is a fair one. So we do have plans. We will be writing out to people who live in sheltered housing before the end of March, telling you what our interim arrangements are, and then there is a longer term plan. But however, there is the independent living service, and colleagues have been working with those 175 customers who were affected to move them across to the independent living service, so that they will continue to get support. If there's anyone who needs support who wasn't getting support from Live Well but needs it now, then let us know, and we will be able to signpost you and sign you up to the independent living service. So I hope that that answers your question. Let's have a look. One for you, Tom, from Carl. Tom, you talked about fire safety. Carl lives in a second floor flat. We don't have an escape route. A succinct answer to that, if you don't mind.
So I think you mean an alternative escape route, because presumably you've got a normal way in and out of your building. That is normal in the UK, so external fire escapes are not common like they are in the United States and some European countries where that is normal, but that is normal to potentially only have one escape route.
Yeah, and I think where you live, Carl, it's actually a stay put policy. So in the instance of a fire, then the safest thing to do is remain in your property. Do you want to say about the fire service and how they would respond, Tom?
Yeah, so obviously if the fire is in your flat, you should leave. And if you feel worried about flame or smoke or anything like that, you should leave. And if you want to leave, you can leave. But as Julie said, it may be safer to remain in the property if it is a stay put building. You should have fire action notices on the walls coming on the way in that will tell you what it is. And if you're not sure, obviously you can always ask us as well. But yeah, the fire service would concentrate on the area that the fire was in. People can also, by the way, either through Curo or themselves, get apply for a home fire safety visit. If you live in Avon, they call it home safety visit. If you live in Dorset and Wilts, they call it a safe and well visit. But that is a free service from the fire brigade, and they will come round and they will talk to you about fire safety and they will look at things. And if they have any concerns, they will also come to my team, so we talk to them regularly. So that is an independent way of getting that stuff checked if you're concerned, and we would encourage people to always to do that.
Brilliant, thank you. Tasmin, if you can DM my colleagues with your details, then I'll get in contact with you tomorrow. Becca, hi Becca, you're saying that there's so many rats on Eaton Park, Yatton. Your next door neighbour has had rats chewing in her car. What's being done about it? We would only be responsible for if there was an infestation in communal areas, Becca. If you've got a problem on the estate, and it looks like you have, if you've got rats chewing in your neighbour's car, then you would need to contact the local authority and they will make arrangements to come out and deal with it. Caroline, hi Caroline, you said you've got very cold flat with electric heating, which you can't afford due to low wages. Caroline, again, if you can give us your details to contact, then I will arrange for a colleague to come and speak to you about what support we can offer and potentially look at whether or not your electric heating is needs an upgrade or not. Jennifer, hi Jennifer, thank you for contacting. Yeah, it's not. This isn't actually the place to talk about the thing that you've asked us to talk about, but I'm sure if there's anybody who is currently on the site and they would like to have a nice black tub chair, then they will contact you. Becca, the rats are in the plate park and they're in the drains. Who owns the drains? I will check to see who is responsible for the drains, Becca, and we'll come back to you. Jessica, I think we're already dealing with you on the issue that you've raised, Jessica. So I'm not going to go into that. I'm not going to go into that online tonight. Right. Let's have a look what else there is. So in terms of new developments that we've got, we have put in a planning application for 54 affordable homes in Timsbury. That planning application is now live on the Baines planning portal, and we have had lots of support from the local community. I think we did a session there to gauge the feedback from people who live there, and it was broadly supportive because it's offering 54 affordable homes many of which will probably go to family members of those that already live in the community. But the planning application is there for people to have a look at if you want to. What else have we got? So I will talk about some of the. So we are dealing at the moment with we're looking into a case with regards to lead paint in properties. We do have, as you know, significantly older properties that may have lead paint. Normally, it would be absolutely fine as long as it's left undisturbed. Um, but we are looking to see whether or not we're looking to see to give people a bit more information in terms of raising awareness. And if you are carrying or intending to carry out any decorations, just to be aware, in the same way as we do for making you aware of asbestos if you live in one of our older properties. In both cases, if it's left alone and it's not disturbed, it is absolutely fine and the risk is very low in both. I don't know if you want to say anything on that, Tom.
Yeah, so lead paint is nowhere near as potentially dangerous as asbestos. You definitely should never touch asbestos. If you are doing any decorating, then the sort of things to think about: make sure the space is ventilated. Ideally, use liquid like chemical paint stripper. It's generally if you've got a lot of paint and you live in an older property that this is potentially an issue. If you just paint over it, that's absolutely fine because you've sealed it in. It's no problem. It's only if you're really looking to take some, say, old skirting board back to the wood and you've got 20 layers of gloss paint on it or something. If you're using a heat gun, try not to use it on a super hot setting because you don't want to melt the paint. You just want to loosen it a little bit. And anything you collect, make sure you bag it up securely and you can put it out in the rubbish. And for most people, most of the time doing decorating, this isn't a problem. As Julie says, it's just something that we want to make people a little bit more aware of. And we're just working out the best way to put some information together.
Yeah, so when we do that, then we'll put something on our website and we will also include it in information for new customers who are moving into one of our older homes, just for information. But just to be clear, if it's left in situ, it's not disturbed, it is not a health risk for you. Okay, we've got a couple of goodbyes, Tom. So one from Helen to say thank you and good to have the chat back again. Thanks, Helen. It's good to be back. And as I said, we intend to do these sessions bi-monthly. So watch out for the next one. We've also got a thank you from Sharon, Tom, who's saying thank you, Julie and Tom. Have a good rest of the evening. We've got a question from Jackie. Hi, Jackie. Can you ask about your mum's sheltered bungalow? Damp is horrible. Keeps coming back. Stop. Yes, Jackie. It would be useful to know if we already are aware of this. So if you could just update in the comments. But if you could DM to my colleagues your mum's address, and if we're already not doing something about it, then yes, we will get in contact with your mum and arrange to do an inspection as quickly as possible. Another question from Clovis. Hi, Clovis. Who can I contact about getting my heating upgrade? It is due this year. Clovis, if you give us a ring and ask to speak to a colleague in asset management, then either contacts on the CCT will be able to give you that information, or if not, they'll put you through to the team that can. Next one, Laura. Julie, Curo promised to sort out my garden, free of debris. Nearly 3 years I've been fighting with Curo on this. How do I complain about this? Laura, if you want to complain, and if we've let you down, I'm sorry, but you can complain to us, and we will obviously treat your complaint very seriously. Another thank you, Tom, from Daniel. Thank you. Found this session very useful. First time for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming along, and hope it's not the only time. And please feel free to join us again. Jackie is also saying first time on the chat and finding it informative. Thank you. Thank you, Jackie. Adrian has just joined and saying, good evening. What's Curo going to do about the state of the garage roofs, major holes, and reported last December and needs replacing? Adrian, obviously we'd need to know your exact garage address. What I can say is we recognise that we do need to do something about our garage estates. Lots of them are over 60 years old. They no longer are suitable to contain cars, for example. Over that time, cars have got bigger, and most of our garage sites, we reckon, you can't even house a car in them. We know that lots are being used for storage, and so we will do a major piece of work between April and next April 26 and March 27 to do a real proper review of all of our garage sites and make decisions in terms of is there demand there? Should we be investing in them to upgrade them? For example, we have demolished 3 garage sites in the last 12 months, and we will be building, I think, 12 houses on those 3 garage sites. So we recognise some of them are suitable for housing, much needed housing. So I think there's 2 separate things there, Adrian. One is to understand what's happening with the repair to your garage. But in the wider scheme of things, we definitely need to do a proper strategic review of all of our garage sites and make decisions as to what are we going to do with them going forward. Because lots of them we don't have demand on. We get very little weekly rent, and we just can't afford, because of the low levels of rent, we can't afford to invest in them as we would like to do. And so are there alternatives? We could, for example, knock the garages down and have parking spaces. We could see if we could team up with an EV company, for example, and place some EV chargers on there. There's lots of things that we can do, but we need to properly review all of our garage sites, consult with customers, and then make decisions as to what do we do on them individually. So I hope that helps. Helen, you've been with Curo over 15 years, waiting for over 2 years to have some sort of security on fence. There is a big backlog in terms of our fence repairs, Helen. I do apologise. I think 2 years is a long time, so we can look into that. But yes, there is a long waiting list for fence repairs. And we have an in-house team who are doing their very best to break down that waiting list. So I apologise for the long waits, but we have had to make decisions in terms of what do we prioritise, and we have to prioritise repairs to the properties themselves first and foremost, internal repairs. So please bear with us a bit longer. I'm not saying that we will be able to reduce that waiting time overnight, but we are making inroads into it, and we will do everything we can to reduce that. But I do acknowledge that there is a long time waiting for fence repairs at the moment, and I apologise. Sophie, can someone from Curo paint and wash mould in your bathroom? How can you get it sorted? Sophie, if you have already had contact from us on damp in your property, then we will get somebody to contact you on that and follow that up. Rosie, if permission to have a dog, and I asked about all pets, is that okay? We should have information, I think, on our website, Tom, don't we, in terms of
Yeah, I think it's per pet as well, consent. So it's
yeah,
not like a blanket consent.
yeah. So Rosie, if you go onto our website, you should find details of permissions regarding pets. Izzy is contacted regarding proposed increase to her sinking fund. Izzy, again, I haven't got the details, so I can't comment on your specific question.
Is
I
it worth us saying
think,
something about sinking funds and what they are and how we work
yeah,
them
yeah,
out? Yeah.
if you'd like to, Tom.
So we do quite a bit around fire safety investment where um, the idea of the sinking fund obviously is that you pay some money in up front against the cost of work that we are expecting to do in the future. So it's kind of like a savings account, and the money is ring fenced to your property, and the account does bear interest, and the interest is your money, so it's not Curo's money, and it belongs to the property almost. So if you sold your leasehold or shared ownership property, the sinking fund would go with the property to the next person who bought it. Because we are estimating what we're going to do sometimes several years in advance, it isn't an exact science, and we do get it wrong. We might be a bit under, we might be a bit over. So sometimes you might feel like you have a lot in there, and you could have done with the money for something else. And sometimes you might feel like there's not enough in there, and we suddenly give you a big bill. We try and minimize that and spread it out. If you do have issues with affordability and you want to talk to our leasehold colleagues, they will absolutely have a conversation with you about what's possible, what's not possible. The aim of it is to try and make it more affordable, not less affordable. So, if it is causing you a problem, I would encourage you to speak to our colleagues in leasehold, and they will help.
Yeah, we've got lots of options that we can discuss with you. Beverly, it sounds like you've got an ongoing complaint. I'm not sure what stage your complaint is at, but if it's at stage 1 and you're not happy with the proposed outcome, then you can ask the complaint to be escalated to stage 2. If you're at stage 2 and you're not happy with the outcome that you've been offered, then you absolutely have the right to take it to the Housing Ombudsman. And if you haven't got the details of the Housing Ombudsman, then we would be happy to provide them to you. If you're saying that there is personal injury, then you need to contact us and we will pass those details on to our insurance company. Just to go back to Rosie about permission for a pet. Rosie, we've already given you permission for a dog, I believe, and you've asked about all pets. Would this be okay? You need to go onto our website, Rosie, and have a look at what our pets policy is, because it depends on the pet and the number of pets. So if you go on there, you should be able to find the information about the particular pet that you're asking about. Hi Abs, you're saying you've had issues with your neighbour's dog's mess and harassment, which you've reported to tenancy compliance, and we keep getting brushed to the side. What do we do? Abs, if you're not happy with the service that you're getting, then you do have the right to complain. So if we can look up to see where we're at with our tenancy compliance colleagues and get one of them to contact you. But if, again, as I said, if you're not happy with the service, then you have every right to complain. If you go onto the website, have a look at our complaints policy, and that will tell you what to do. Helen, going back to the fence, more of a gate fence, need hired or spikes put up. We wouldn't do that, Helen. Helen, we're not going to put spikes up, I'm afraid. We have a 6-foot fence policy, so we wouldn't do anything higher than that. Paul is asking why you have to pay £1.50 a week for garden maintenance but don't get anything done. Paul, I don't know where you live, but if you live on an estate that's got grass, then we do grounds maintenance. There's lots of things that we do in terms of the grounds maintenance, but I can't give you a specific answer because I'm sorry, I don't know where you live. But it suggests to me that you live on an estate where we at least cut the grass for you. Obviously, we're not going to be cutting the grass this time of year, but our contractors should start up again sometime towards the end of March. Adrian, with regards to your dissatisfaction with your condition of your garage, again, as I said, we can look to see what's happening with your repair. But again, if you're not satisfied with the service that you've received, then you have the right to raise a complaint. There's quite a few things coming up now which are specific repairs. So I'm afraid that I can't answer those specific questions. I'm sorry, but we will take these offline, and where possible, we will come back to you in the next day or so to respond once we've got more information. Louise is asking a very interesting question, which is why are your repairs team useless? I would argue, Louise,
Harsh.
that they're not. They've got very high customer satisfaction rates of well over 90%, which should suggest that they're not useless. They also get the highest number of compliments from customers, again suggesting that they're not useless. It may be in this particular instance, things haven't gone right, but I don't think it's fair to have a blanket response that our repairs team are useless, because I can categorically tell you that they're not. Another rat issue. Hi, Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie, if we are only responsible for rats in communal areas, so if you're living in a house and you've got rats in your garden, that would be something that's your responsibility. It should be in your tenancy agreement, which sets out what ours and the tenant's responsibilities are in respect of vermin and pests. Have I got that right, Tom?
I think so, yes.
Yeah. You're saying that the house at the end of the road is full of rubbish. If that's a Curo house, please make us aware of the address, and we will send our tenancy compliance colleagues around to address the issue with the customer. Hi, Millie. Hope you're well. Just wondering where the dates have gone from when bedroom, bathroom and kitchens are due. I think, Millie, anyone who was due a kitchen and bathroom in the next 12 months should have received a letter from my colleague Mike, who's the Director of Asset Management. We have again had to make some difficult decisions in terms of prioritising our investment over the next couple of years. And we have had to make a really difficult decision to postpone our planned kitchen and bathroom replacements, certainly for at least the next year. But what we will do is, where there are, if you want us to come and have a look at your bathroom or kitchen, if you were saying that you were on the programme this year, then we will be coming to carry out an inspection to see what the condition is. But that's the reason why we've taken the dates off of the Curo Connect, because we didn't want to give false hope. And I'm sorry that we've had to do that, but I hope you can appreciate that we have had to make difficult decisions in terms of how we prioritise the investment. There are lots and lots of things that are calling on us and other housing associations, and we've only got so much money. So we have had to make some difficult decisions in respect of what we prioritise over the next year. Paul, you're saying you live in, I can never say this, and I don't believe it even exists, but Nempnet Thrubwell, which is one of
there.
our rural communities. No gardener has been here for ages. Okay, Paul, I'll get our estates colleagues to have a look into that, and one of them will come back to you with a response. Laura is still insisting that our repairs teams are useless. I'm afraid, Laura, we're going to have to agree to disagree on that. But again, if you've had poor service, then please let us know and we can deal with that individually. But I still don't agree that that's a reason to blanket all of our colleagues as being useless, because that is absolutely not true. And we've got some amazing colleagues, which our customers tell us about every day.
I know certainly in the safety side as well, a lot of the day-to-day repairs team take that all very seriously, and they will always talk to us if they're worried about something or not sure about something. They worry about people's welfare as well in their homes, and they do, they do try and do everything they can to help. Is my experience.
We've got lots of comments now, Tom. I know you can't see them, but there's
Yeah, I'm
lots
sorry
of
about that.
people.
It's
No, it's
rubbish.
fine. There's lots of people supporting our repairs
Oh, good.
colleagues, and there's lots of people not supporting them. So there you go, mixed opinions. Right, we've got 4 minutes left. I can't see any more questions, so I hope that people have found this useful. As I said, we do keep a copy of this, so if we haven't been able to reply to your individual question tonight, then we have got a record of them and we'll make sure that somebody comes back. Jackie, thank you, Jackie. We'll leave it on this. Jackie has contacted to say all repairs that have had to be done have been done professionally and within an adequate time. Just my experience. Thank you, Jackie. I think that is an excellent post to lead on. So, Tom, do you want to wish everyone good evening?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for your time.
Hope you've enjoyed your first
Yes,
Facebook
thank you.
Live session, Tom. Thank you, everybody, and we'll be back in April now with the next one. Thanks very much. Bye bye.